On March 13th, 2020, it was announced that the University of Alabama will be moving online. So what this essentially meant was I had to figure out how to be a music major online. And being a music major means loads of practicing, seeing my friends every day, being in ensembles, taking lessons, and somehow figuring out how to take classes such as theory, form analysis, and other hard subjects online. Actually, what being online meant using the app Zoom. Now, Zoom is a video call where you can do only audio, only video, or a combination of the two. And every class I had moved to Zoom. Form and analysis, my lessons, even both of the ensembles I was in. At first, it was pretty weird because I wasn't getting the full experience of making music just by sitting at my computer. I didn't get to be surrounded with my friends. I didn't get to have my instruments most of the time. And I wasn't able to sit in ensemble and make music for other people to hear. So essentially, that was pretty weird in itself. But overall, as the rest of the semester went on, I got a little bit more accustomed to Zoom. And Zoom quickly became the new normal for how I was doing classes. Of course, there were some classes that I wasn't too thrilled about being moved online. One big one was Clarinet Studio, because Clarinet Studio is always the highlight of my week. I get to see my closest friends, I get to see my favorite professor, I get to hear some of my favorite people play amazing pieces. So when it was announced that we were being moved online, I wasn't really sure how this would work. But of course, Dr. Molina figured out that we would just play over Zoom. And while that's all right, it's definitely not the same as being in person and getting the full experience. So I ended up getting on a Zoom call with 3 of my studio mates and wanted to get their thoughts on how it's been having studio online and how they were just feeling about the overall experience.
I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts about how you've been experiencing studio online and what you think of that, and do you like it, do you not like it, that type of thing, or like how different is it? So the floor is open.
I guess I'll go first. I enjoy it. I mean, there's some bad parts about like not being in the actual classroom and like playing like live in front of other people, but it's a good like alternative to like not doing it at all. So, and it does work with like discussions and all that. So yeah.
I feel like it's pretty much the same, especially with everyone's humor and just making jokes with each other. But playing for like through the camera, there are issues with some people whenever they play. Video will go in and out, but I think it's pretty much the same.
I agree with everything that's been said so far. I guess my thing is just, especially with like the sophomores doing their scales, like I feel like it's really hard to give them good feedback because the audio cuts in and out sometimes, especially when they play in like the high registers.
When it came to practicing, I figured that would kind of be a little bit easier, but as I would quickly remember, being at home and practicing is not the same as being in a practice room and practicing. So with a practice room, you have pretty much inconspicuously. So what that means is I wouldn't have to worry about a lot of people bothering me because the people that would hear me practicing are other musicians and understand how important it is to practice. In my house, as much as I love my family, it's not really the best time to try and practice when you're surrounded by them. Although I was only taking one music class this semester, I knew a lot of my friends were taking multiple, which made the switch to online a little bit harder. So I decided to reach out to my friend Kelly, who is a graduating clarinet performance major, just to get her thoughts on what it's like dealing with professors and how they're handling online and delegating assignments to students.
Especially just because like we were supposed to have 2 more concerts and like orchestra and wind ensemble, but I think the easiest part is probably the professors and like how I guess available they've been and how proactive they've been about like trying to find something that they can do to still help us, like to still benefit us and still help us learn, even though we can't be like playing in the ensemble setting and getting that experience. So like with wind ensemble and orchestra, we've just been listening to like different pieces that they've sent and like doing research on them, and it's a lot of times it's stuff that I haven't actually sat down and like listened to all the way through, you know, it's like heard bits and pieces of it. So I think that's been helpful.
I truly missed about being on campus was seeing my friends, obviously. I couldn't go out and hang with them, bust into their practice room and talk to them, see what they're playing, hear them play. And overall, just the sense of community left a big hole that was hard to fill over video call. And so I reached out to Dr. Amir Zahiri.
Could you please say what your title is at the School of Music and what all that entails?
Sure. I have several titles. Do you want all of them?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm the Associate Director of the School of Music. I am the Director of Undergraduate Studies for the School of Music. I'm the Director of Student Affairs and Student Wellness for the School of Music. I'm one of 2 professors of composition, and I am also the Director of the Contemporary Ensemble.
During my discussion with Dr. Zahiri, I asked them about what they thought the community aspect would be after this quarantine is over and we all return to school in the fall.
I think when we return, I think that we are going to appreciate, first of all, each other so much more. I think that we probably will have a lot more, I'm hoping, but I suspect sincerely that we will have a lot more compassion for one another. I think that we will appreciate our building, our physical resources so much more.
At one point during the online school session, I found myself struggling very much with motivation. And not just motivation to do the obvious schoolwork online, but just motivation staying creative. I didn't really have a lot of things at my disposal being stuck at home. I couldn't go out and film. I didn't have people around me to inspire me. So I really just ended up struggling online with just being creative. I also wanted to ask Dr. Zahiri about their thoughts on what it was like being creative during this time and how they dealt with any lack of motivation on being creative.
In the School of Music, we are creative all the time, whether or not we think about it. Most of the time people think, well, yeah, we're being creative in ensembles or in rehearsals, but the truth is we're being creative in our lessons. We're trying to creatively interpret what our professors are telling us so that we can get as close to the product that they are wanting us to hear. We're being creative in theory classrooms as students, trying to put into our own words and in our own notes what Dr. Robinson or Dr. Boyle is talking about. And then, of course, we have the creative activities that happen when we're performing in the concerts and the recitals and lectures. And those are probably the ones that we would think about first. And so, of course, I had some concerns about students having their creative needs met. But I'm really happy to say that, and I'm not sure if this is something unique to the School of Music in this sense. I don't think it is. From what I see online, I think people your age especially, but I think a lot of people are creative. I think that we are generally a creative creature. And so we've responded to these restrictions with creativity. And we see a lot of people finding new ways to create art and new ways to perform their art, whether it's online or, well, a lot of it's online, but they're looking for new ways. People are discovering new ways to creatively capture what they are producing or creating and sharing. And then they're finding creative ways to distribute that, whether it's on Facebook or TikTok or let's see, what else have I seen recently? Certainly there's always Facebook Live. I think Instagram has been pretty popular, but TikTok is something that I'm not on TikTok, but I've seen enough TikTok videos to know that creativity has taken TikTok by storm. So I don't know, maybe we should start teaching a TikTok class. We're gonna have to think about that because people are doing some pretty good work on there, I have to say.
At first glance, the transition to online school was a bit difficult and a little bit scary, but thanks to the people and my teachers, it was made a lot easier. So in the words of content creator Matthew Encina, it's time to get back to work.